Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is Patron Hangout number 153. Okay, well, so much to talk about. Welcome, everybody who is in the chat room. And if you can see and hear me, just let me know that, just because I've had some weird issues lately, mostly because I forget to plug things in. All right. Definitely my fault. All right. So I'm going to answer a few questions first before I get into all these crimes. Just a little bit of fun. Always asked about my cat that I don't own. The cat named Mackerel, who is not my cat, but has been coming around for 5 months now. And this is the latest picture of him. And I was told by people that if he lays down like that and he squints his eyes at you, that he actually feels comfortable and trusts you. And so he has been doing this lately. This is a picture from my bedroom. He now comes in the bedroom and he eats his food and he lays down and he looks at me like that. And then he leaves and then he comes back later because I always put extra food down and I try to lure him with my hand and then he won't ever get near my hand. So he leaves and then he comes back later and stands right next to my bed. I always make it closer and eats the food and then looks up to make sure that I'm not going to mess with him. So it's been 5 months. So I'm trying to be very patient with this feral cat and see whether he will ever let me touch him. But I would say, yeah, he's getting a little bit more comfortable since he likes to sit in my bedroom for a little bit. And then he leaves a little scent around, sprays around, says, "It's my room," and then walks out. Well, it is progress. I'm not sure how adorable he is, but I think he's using me. But so that was one question. Another question somebody asked me is, what have I done for art recently? So I have 2 pictures to show you. This is a lake in Pakistan, which I think I was going to put a foreground in, but I just loved the peacefulness of the lake. So that's one I did, and this is Hawaii. And I always love anything to do with Hawaii, so I did that one. So that's the art. That's the art for today. And let's see. Denial. He's your cat. Well, no, I might be his human because he might be. He comes in. I'm spending all that money giving him the food and all that stuff. And by the way, I have a wonderful patron who has also contributed to. A couple of patrons have actually contributed to the lifestyle of my non-cat. he knows where to come, but we shall see. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I really love doing pastels. I could make digital copies. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the selling of art, but who knows? Then I was asked when I was in New York City, whether I got any souvenirs. Okay, so I did go to the Lion King, so I got this cup. The alcohol that was in this cup cost about $20. I think they're going to give a better cup. Her $20 drink, which was pretty weak. Anyway, you like my eyeglass frame? Oh, they're cheap. I went in to get my eyeglasses, and I just simply went in and I get whatever. It doesn't look too appalling and is on the cheap end. So these are my distance glasses because of the cataract issue I have, which is a beginning cataract. So now I don't need my reading glasses. I need distance glasses, but now my distance is getting worse. So I'm getting new glasses, which have come in, and I'm also getting some progressives so I can actually read. But that'll probably change in a few months, and I'll have to get the stupid surgery, as usually happens. Oh, here's my other thing from New York City because I got this off the stand. Okay, I have the thing for Stitch. I love the cartoon. I mean the movie, the cartoon movie Lilo and Stitch, because it takes place in Hawaii. Isn't he adorable? Look at him, he's so cute. He's so cute. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going to put him, but I've got him now. All right. So, do I believe kitties are good judges of character? I think cats are pretty much close to psychopathic. I think they know how to use people. Dogs are like desperate for attention all the time. Please be nice to me. Please be nice to me, and then I'll be yours forever. And cats are like, Okay, give me what I want when I want it, and I will be nice to you forever, but only on alternating days and when I don't want to trip you down the steps and kill you. And I think that is true for all of the cats I've ever had in my life, which is a lot of them. So, yeah, just to be realistic. Okay. Your 4 cats own you. That's the way it works. Okay, to start out, I just have a couple of little interesting stories. Speaking of cats and dogs, this was just a strange story. This is horrifying. So this poor woman was walking her daughter, who was 4 years old, down the street, and she was a golden retriever fell out of a window and hit her from 4 stories up. This golden retriever came flying out of a window and hit her daughter and killed her daughter. Her daughter is dead because of the falling. You can see up there the circle. You can see the golden retriever. The golden retriever's in the street. The golden retriever did get up and stagger off, but the question is, was it a crime or wasn't it? Did the dog like go up out on a balcony and just fall over, or did somebody chuck the dog out of the balcony? And I haven't heard any updates on that story, but how often would you think your child is going to be killed by a falling golden retriever? Just so weird. That's the best explanation of a cat's personality I've ever heard. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Bluebell Rose, hi. I remember many years ago being in Venice, Italy. I bought a big lace umbrella. I got to the tour bus and 2 ladies stared at me. And I remember saying, I know, what the am I going to do with this? This is, yeah. I know. I will say, as I've gotten older and traveled, I almost never buy anything because I have no place to put it. And I've gotten enough stuff from around the world. I don't really need anything. I don't know why I ended up with a Stitch poster. I have no place to put it. Maybe I'll put it on the back of like a closet door so I can open it up and go, it's Stitch. I don't know. Yeah, that is pretty freaky. Okay, speaking of freaky, let's go on the freaky thing. So this is your fault, by the way, Bloodbath. Bloodbath said that considering the recent video in which there was issues of face sitting, and I was told I should now do a whole video on Kama Sutra. And I mentioned that I have been in this business long enough doing sexual homicides, sexual crimes, and sexual perversions. I pretty much know a lot about a lot of things that are quite interesting, shall we say. It's like, what do people do? Okay, so this dude stuck an eel up his butt. Yes, I mean, I'm sure all of you have had occasions when you stuck eels up your butt. So anyway, he had a bit of trouble when I guess the eel didn't actually do what he wanted the eel to do, but he stuck the eel up his butt, and let's see what happened to him. So hold on a second. I'm taking my glasses off because I cannot read with my glasses on. So anyway, he went to the doctor because he had abdominal pain. You think? Could it have anything to do with the eel up your butt? But anyway, so he apparently slipped this thing up his backside earlier in the day, and it tried to escape. Well, I guess it couldn't get out the way it came in. So it bit through part of his rectum and colon to try to escape. And so they went in and they did the x-rays, and they showed the eel skeleton lying inside the abdominal cavity. And let me tell you, since I was a medical sign language interpreter for years, believe you me, I saw some interesting x-rays. And people, sometimes the x-ray tech would say, come here, look at this. And I go, that's interesting. I saw a lot of stuff stuck up butts. Let's put it that way. One of my favorites was the phone. Somebody had a cell phone stuck up their butt. The guy claimed that he had the cell phone in the shower with him, and then the cell phone fell, and he slipped and he fell on the cell phone. Yeah, we didn't believe that one. Another guy came in, and he said he was assaulted. He came off of a bus, and the guy came up to him and said, "Hey, you want to buy these drugs, this medication?" And he said, "No, thanks, dude." And then he turned away, and the guy hit him over the head. And the next thing he knew, he woke up and he had the pill stuffed up his butt. I believe when he told me that, because I was interpreting the the police officer, he like said, "Excuse me," and he walked out of the room. I heard him go, "Wah!" He just lost it. So, yeah. So anyway, this guy got emergency surgery, and they got out the creature, but they also found a lime in there. There was a lime. He stuck a lime up his butt. I don't know if it was before or after the eel. Maybe he's trying to keep the eel in his butt. Or you can sit on my face. People are so freaking weird. Oh, this is, this is a good question, actually. At what point are we responsible for the things we do to ourselves? At what point do we cost the taxpayers and whoever else all this money for stuff that people do to themselves? I don't know. Was it still alive? That's a good question. Let me look. Let me see what happened with the eel. Was the eel still alive? That's a good question. I forgot to look at that. They didn't say it was dead. They said it tried to chew its way through. So it doesn't say if it's dead or alive. Poor eel. Too big. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, the lime and the coconut. Well, I guess it was starting to do that. That's the whole point. It was starting to eat through his insides, and that's when he felt pain. Until then, I guess he was having a good time. Oh my God. No, I will not go into the gerbil issues. Okay. Now, okay, speaking of odd stories, I got to go to this story. Now, again, not a political channel. Please do not put any politics, whether you like or dislike this particular candidate for the presidency of the United States. Please, let's not even go there. That's not the point. The point is, though, this is a weird story, and I believe a crime was committed, but the story is so strange. So what happened was, this is RFK Jr. Apparently, and he dumped a bear cub in Central Park, and this is a picture of him posing with said bear cub, with his hand in his mouth, showing like, "Oh my God, the cub is biting me." Actually, the bear cub is already dead, and he's just taking a quote funny picture. Now, this story apparently this is a long time that this story has been. I mean, the crime or the event or the incident, whatever you want to call it. Hold on a second. I gotta. Oh, come on, stop that. Sorry, I'm having an iPad freeze. Why is this happening? What? I'm going to go, while it has its issues, I'm going to go over and look at it elsewhere. Are we done being frozen? Oh, thank you. All right. So this is what happened. This happened in 2014. So we're talking 10 years ago. RFK Jr. posed with this dead bear cub, making a funny joke. Now, the problem is not that he had a funny picture with a dead bear cub, but this is what happened. Well, apparently the story's just come out, so he tried to get in front of the story and explain what happened. He says that he was driving along and a woman in front of him driving a van hit the bear cub. And after that happened, he decided to do something with the bear, that he was going to take this bear. Let's see where it is here. He picked up the dead bear with plans to skin the animal and store its meat. Now, mind you, he was out doing, what was he doing? I've just blanked here. Let me find the other thing on it. Okay, maybe it's over here. Falconing, he's rich. He does rich people things. So anyway, the claim is that he had been out falconing. So how does this work? He was out doing that, and then he saw that this woman hit this bear. He pulled over and picked up the bear and thought, oh, it's in good condition, so I will skin it and put the meat in my refrigerator. And the reason he's supposedly doing this is because this is what you can feed, like falcons, you know. And he made this comment that he's got a lot of roadkill in his freezer. What? Okay. So this is my problem is with the story. All right. How do you have a lot of roadkill in your freezer? I understand one roadkill. You're going along, you hit a deer, and you go, don't want to waste the deer because if the deer died, you know, unfortunately, because you hit it with the vehicle. So you picked up the deer and took it with you if you have a pickup truck. Not if you have a Mazda like me, it doesn't fit in the passenger seat. But if you have a truck, you chuck it back there, you take it home. That makes sense. You're doing something good with the poor thing died. You're doing something good with it. I don't object to the fact that this bear cub died. He thought, okay, I can use this as meat for whatever the heck I'm doing. But I have a lot of roadkill in my freezer. I mean, it's pretty rare that you hit things. How often, RFK Jr., are you hitting animals on the road? I mean, it's a little strange. You'd have a lot of roadkill in your freezer. You're like, do you just like follow vultures and wherever you find a vulture, you just take their food away? I mean, I don't know what the hell you're doing with all the roadkill in your freezer. So anyway, he puts the bear cub in his vehicle, and then he claims that he hadn't attended dinner at Peter Luger Steakhouse in New York City. So now he's not in New York City, mind you. He drives all the way to New York City because he has to go to this dinner. And then he had the bear in his vehicle. And then he realized, oh my God, I have to go to the airport and I have to leave town. So what the heck am I going to do with the bear? Because I can't leave the bear in my vehicle while I'm out of town. So mind you, there's a lot of road. So you can just pull over and leave the bear cub. I mean, if you were intending to do something good with it, but you ran out of time, you were nowhere near your home, and you somehow you don't remember you had dinner at New York City, and you don't remember you had to get on a plane. I'm going to say that makes zero sense to me. I mean, theoretically, when the bear was there available to take and put in your vehicle, you would know you're going to dinner and then to flying out of, you wouldn't have time to do any of this stuff. So you don't have to take a bear cub with you. You don't have to. You can leave it where it is. I mean, we live on a road that has a lot of deer. There's dead deer all over the place. It's a terrible road for deer. We have deer on our property, and when I see a cute little doe, I'm like, please don't run out. Please don't. And then one day, when I drive down the road I'm on, I always slow down at dusk a lot because I don't want to hit a deer. I did hit a deer one day coming out of the park where my granddaughter's playing soccer. Luckily, I wasn't driving my Mazda, or I wouldn't have a Mazda. I was driving my daughter's car, and the deer hit the car. I didn't hit the deer. The deer hit the car, and I thought the deer was dead because it hit so hard. And I went back and looked, and the deer wasn't anywhere there. But also, there was no damage to the vehicle. And I still can't figure out how he glanced off the car with such force and didn't leave any kind of damage. But yeah, I see a lot of dead deer and a lot of vultures eating those deer. So leaving a dead cub on the side of the road, if that's where it happened, is not a big deal. And I'll say this right now. How does he know a woman was driving the van? And when the woman hit the bear, usually people, when they hit something, pull over to try to figure out what the heck they hit. She didn't pull over. She just drove off. And you knew it was a woman driving the van. So right away, I think, dude, you hit that bear yourself. I don't believe for a minute that there was somebody else. So I think he hit the bear. Now, why he didn't just leave the bear and keep going, I don't know. Maybe he did think, oh, I could take this. But if you're going to think that way, and you know you have a dinner, and then you're leaving town, and you don't have time to go home, I'm going to say you're drunk. I'm going to say you drank a lot, and therefore your brain isn't too good. So then it turns out that he says, okay, he decides, because he's downtown, he's had dinner, and he says his friends are drunk, but he's not. And it comes up with this idea, and everybody thinks it's a great idea. They're all drunk, but he hasn't had anything. Yeah, this is so much BS, I can't believe it. So anyway, he decides to leave the bear in Central Park with an old bicycle that just happens to be in the back of his van to make it look like it had been hit by a bike. He's staging a crime scene. Who does that? Who goes to Central Park? I guess this is when you can still drive through Central Park. Goes to Central Park, and I assume in the dark, and gets out and puts the bear there, and then throws an old bicycle on top of it, because he heard that people in Central Park were having accidents with bicycles. So he thought this would be funny to stage a crime scene where a bicyclist hit the bear and then left their bicycle and ran away. Yeah. Okay, so he was doing this interview with Roseanne Barr because the story was going to come out. She's laughing, but she looks shocked. Mr. Kennedy then tells her the fact checkers from the New York are going to ask him about the story and says, this is going to be a bad story. Now, by the way, the injuries supposedly, according to the Department of Environmental Conservation, did say that the death was blunt force injuries consistent with a motor vehicle collision. So it's not like he killed the bear with the gun or stabbed it or something. But supposedly, yes, it was a motor vehicle collision. The bear was 6 months old and 44 pounds. He says, the unusual circumstances were, there's a little bit of redneck in me. I'm sorry, I don't think rednecks pick up dead bears on the side of the road and then stage crime scenes in Central Park. Dude. Weird story. I'm going to say he was plastered. This sounds like what happens when somebody's really trashed and they have very, very poor judgment and think things are funny that aren't funny. And why he has I still don't know why he has an old vehicle, an old bicycle just happens to be in the back of his car. I mean, it's strange story. But again, no political comments, just yes, it does seem juvenile, but it happened 10 years ago. So he was how old? 50, 60 years old? How old was he? I forgot how old he is, but no, he's not a juvenile, but he's acting like a juvenile for seriously weirdest story ever. No kidding. I mean, wow. In Australia, we hit kangaroos and not deer. But when you hit the kangaroo, do you then put it in the back of your vehicle, take it to a park and pretend somebody else killed it? I mean, the thing is, hitting a bear is not, it's not a crime. If a little bear runs into the road, it's horrifying. And you hit it, it's not a crime. Staging the bear being killed by a bicyclist in Central Park, that is a crime. However, enough years have passed where they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to charge him with anything. Maybe he goes around collecting roadkill. Dude's rich as heck. I mean, I know you want to feed whatever creatures you're feeding for whatever you're doing. It's expensive to get, just buy a side of a cow. But you're super wealthy. I don't think you need to be picking up roadkill. I mean, I understand if it's there. Okay, so it's a dead deer. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, I have a friend who collects roadkill. She likes to make art out of the bones. Okay, I'm not against picking up roadkill. When all my kids were younger, we were doing homeschooling. I had a bird that smacked into the window, and we did a taxidermy project. And it was very interesting. We did taxidermy the bird, and I suppose people think that's super weird. Do you still love me? No. So what happened after that was one day one of my friends had a bird run into her window, and she came and hung she was going by my house. I wasn't home, so she hung the dead bird on my doorknob. And one of my renters came in and I don't know if I want to live in this house anymore. The woman's a witch. So I'm a kind of a strange person myself. So I'm okay with people being a little off. That to me is yeah. Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy. That's all I can say. It's kind of creepy. But anyway, that was just a bizarre story. Okay, next bizarre story. Oh, don't no no. Okay, all right. Let's go to some major crime issues that people have been asking about. Okay, yep, Richard Allen. People said, when are you going to talk about Richard Allen again? Breaking news. Well, there's not really breaking news, and of course, Richard Allen is the guy who's been charged with killing Abby and Libby in Delphi, and it seems like this court case is never going to get to court. It's just going to go on forever and ever and ever. But anyway, now there is breaking news. I love how they say this. So anyway, let me find the breaking news because I like the way they stated it was breaking news. Where is it? Okay, wait a minute. I want to find the one that said breaking news because I thought that was excessive. Because it really isn't. Okay, I got Daily Mail. They say, no, that's not it. What the heck happened to... Hold on. Okay, haunting new details. Okay, let's go to haunting new details. Oh, who makes up these headlines? It's like I have some trolls over at your network. I'm like, anyway, haunting. Okay. Haunting new details are revealed in court. Oh, this is it. That wasn't breaking news. It was haunting new details are revealed in court. And as expert claims Indiana girls' deaths are textbook example of ritualistic killing. Okay, what's your comment right there, folks? What's your comment right there on haunting new details revealed in court as expert claims Indiana girls' deaths are textbook examples of ritualistic killing? What is wrong with this headline? It says here, Delphi murder suspects' lawyers claim a pagan cult sacrificed 2 teenage girls who were snatched from a hiking trail and the confessed killer is innocent. Huh. Okay, first of all, not an expert. I looked up this woman and I'm not impressed. Let's put it that way. What else? Claims, yes, but I want to ask this question. Is this new? I mean, didn't this pagan cult thing come up like how long ago has this is not new. There's nothing absolutely not new at all in this. The Odinists, have killed the girls in this ritualistic crap. This has been out for forever. All right. So that's ridiculous. Now let's go on to a few other things. The more interesting stuff that's been stated. Abby and Libby set out on a trail at 1:35 p.m. and Libby posted a photo at 2:07 of Abby walking along the bridge. Police believe they were kidnapped at 2:14 p.m. That's when they had, the down the hill, the guy saying down the hill. And they were killed within 18 minutes. I'm not sure where the 18 minutes comes from. That's something I'm very curious about. How would they know 18 minutes? Did the accused say 18 minutes? I don't know. Now, the prosecutors told the court that Allen, that is the guy who's been being charged and is being prosecuted for the crime. Richard Allen, confessed to the murders more than 60 times in jail phone calls to his wife, mother, and to another inmate. Okay, 60 times. Now, his lawyers say his confessions were the result of his degrading mental state due to being locked in solitary confinement. All right. Yes, that can happen. People can confess to things wrongly because they're losing their minds, especially in solitary confinement. I know that during COVID, I confessed to a lot of things I did not do. At least that's what I'm saying now. But the Indiana State Police Detective Brian Harshman testified about the confessions after listening to 150 hours of phone calls. Here's what I think is most important. He said the confessions began in late March 2023, after he had come to a Jesus moment. Oh, I don't believe that in a minute. First of all, if you're the kind of guy who rapes or sexually assaults or whatever he actually did and murders 2 innocent teenage girls, you're a psychopath, and you don't have a come to Jesus moment, because psychopaths aren't going to have guilt. So that's not going to happen. But Alan, it says here, and Alan spoke very specifically about details of the crime and why he did it. Now, that's interesting to me. I don't know what those details are. I don't know why he said he did it. And this is where the prosecution could really have a lot, because these are recorded phone calls. If he knew things about the crime that no one else could know and confessed them. Now, why would he do that? Now, defense lawyers say he had mental breakdown while being treated like a prisoner of war in jail. That's a good thing. They brought in a psychologist to support that argument, because there's always a psychologist who will support your argument. And then, of course, they pointed the finger at four Odinists, including the father of Abby's boyfriend at the time of her death. Such nonsense. You can go back and look at my stuff on that. This Odinist thing is nonsense. But the question comes to this. Why he did it. First of all, if the guy actually killed the two girls, he's a psychopath. Psychopaths can never be believed. The reason he would be confessing has more to do with what he thinks he's going to get out of confessing. If he believes he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life, and he thinks he can come up with a story for his family that will keep them still caring about him in some way, shape, or form, then he can get them to be on his side, come to visit him in prison. He's going to use people if that's what he is doing. So don't fall for he confessed because he suddenly found Jesus, or he felt guilt, or any of this crap. What happened to those two girls was so horrific that only a psychopath could do that. So if Alan is guilty, he's a psychopath, and anything he says is questionable, except that if he says stuff in his confession that matches stuff in the crime scene only he could know, that is good information for the prosecutors to take to court, along with the other stuff that they have, which includes, I think, at this point, they said there was also a hair from his cat. Now, I don't know how much of the hair they had and how much they're able to connect it to the cat. But so I don't know if it had a root on it or it's just a piece of the fur. I just don't know what it is. Did it match the color of the cat? Did it match, or did it actually DNA match? I don't know. So we're going to learn a lot more as the case actually comes. I think they're going to try this case. When are they actually going to try this case? Oh, when? Please hurry up, because these things go on so long, it's ridiculous. Still looking. I'm just looking at when they're supposed to try this thing. Wait a minute, maybe it's this. I thought it was, November. No, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be this fall, but we'll see if that's true. Oh, Taylor, this is such a good question. Do you think he's done this before? Do serial killers often start with two victims at once? Serial killers can start with two victims. He is kind of old for starting with serial homicide to begin with. But a person who does this has to be a serial killer. Would he have done something before? Usually, yes. But he could have raped before but not killed. That is possible. He could have harbored a fantasy for 2 decades. It's possible. It's people would like to believe that things are absolute. Nothing is ever absolute. So people are human. People change over time. They're still themselves. They don't change their spots, but they do change how they're going to deal with things in life. So I don't know. We really just don't know. Okay. There was an unspent bullet, matched the kind of bullets he had in his home. And the claim is going to be, it could be anybody who could have similar bullets. But he said he was on the trail. He said he was there at the time. And that shows up. And if the cat hair matches and he confesses, they got a pretty good case. But who knows? Oh, yeah, this is true. And if you're going to ask, am I going to cover this trial myself? I'm going to watch every 8 hours of this trial every day and comment on it. No, that's not what I do, although it would make me a lot of money. So that's an interesting thing that's come up. Another question has been about Chris. Wait a minute, sorry, I forgot what his name is. Dorman. because he has been convicted. And this is quite interesting. Let me find this out in a second. Where's Dorman? Okay, Chad. It's Chad, not Chris. All right, Chad Dorman. He shot all three of his sons, and luckily his daughter got the heck out of there before he shot everybody. So, well, of course, she's got to live with it. So it's horrifying. But he got convicted. All right. Ohio dad, Chad Dorman, read the Bible, told his sons they were the best boys ever before gunning them down. There's witnesses to this. So this is not what he's saying. There are witnesses. I think it's his wife or his daughter or both. An Ohio father will rot in prison the rest of his life for shooting and killing his three young sons last year. Chad Dorman got his firearms out of his gun safe on June 15, 2023, and turned to his three sons, Clayton 7, Hunter 4, and Chase 3. After telling them that he loved them, he said they were the best boys ever, and then one by one he shot them to death. Dorman, 33, was arrested on the scene, charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder. He pleaded guilty to the murder on Friday and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms, plus another 16 years on assault charges for injuring his wife and stepdaughter. The chilling details are this. According to the attorney, he called his father around lunchtime and cryptically told him that Clayton is going to be the hardest one. And the father didn't know what that meant, but apparently he was planning to kill. Dorman then headed home from work, had lunch with his wife, Laura, telling her that this will be my last good meal. So you have the father hearing this cryptic thing, which turns out to be something important. Then you have his wife, obviously, she's a witness to him saying this will be my last good meal. She, like, what the heck's wrong with him? But things seem quite normal. Between 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m., the defendant spent the afternoon doing yard work, playing with the kids, nothing out of the ordinary. There was nothing to alert Laura that she needed to do something to protect the family. Now, this is interesting. She's been with this guy for years. Nothing alerted her. So has this guy been a stellar husband and father and has no psychotic types of things going, no psychopathic things? Did he not something wrong with his life and he want to take everybody out? What was it? At 3:30 to 3:45, he began to read the Bible to Hunter. He was walking around the house with the Bible, mumbling, "Chad knows what's right, Chad knows what's right." And that would be, Chad is, that's him. Chad knows what's right. There's delusion. All right. When Dorman opened the gun safe at 4 p.m., an alarmed Laura said, "You're scaring me." Chad allegedly responded, "I'm just playing around." But then he began his reign of terror after telling the boys he loved them. Around 4 p.m. on that day of the killing, the defendant and Laura and all 3 boys go into the master bedroom. Laura's concerned in the back of her mind he's going to do something to hurt himself. They lie down. Why would she think that? If nothing was ever wrong with this dude, why is she thinking that? You know, if you're perfectly healthy and somebody goes and gets a gun out of the gun safe, you would wonder why. And this is so very strange. So then they lie down. Why are they laying down? Why is the family laying down? I mean, is he pointing? I don't understand this part of it. Suddenly, after lying down, because normally all of you don't lie down. Okay. Oh, Daddy's got a gun. Let's lay down on the bed. Around 4 p.m. on that day of the killing, defendant so they're all lying down. Suddenly, after laying down, that's not suddenly, the defendant jumps up. Oh, so all 5 of them lay down, but one of them he hasn't grabbed the gun from the rifle from the safe yet. Okay, so they're all laying down. He opened the gun safe and scared them. But what, he left the gun safe open and they all laid down? He grabs a .22 rifle from the safe and terror fills the room. Laura is screaming. The boys are screaming. They're all trying to discourage him, telling him that they love him and begging him not to kill himself. Laura gets to the phone to call 911. He grabs the phone, throws it across the room and tells her it's too late. He points the gun at Hunter and shoots him multiple times. Then he shoots the other 2 boys. Laura's older daughter, Alexis, runs out of the house and alerted a neighbor who called the police. She was unhurt in the shooting. Laura Dorman was injured in the shooting when a bullet hit her hand. She released a heartfelt statement saying that her former husband's sentence will bring her some closure. She was in full agreement with the sentence, unlike some husbands of wives who have murdered all their kids, who go, let's feel sorry for them. They didn't mean to do it. They must have had some psychological problem. She didn't say that about her husband. Why not? She said, having a guarantee he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars is what's best for my family. Okay. I'm trying to figure out, because I haven't found it yet. Maybe when I don't see it anyplace. Was this guy totally normal to that moment in time and went into some psychotic break where he thought he should get rid of everybody in the family and then eventually kill himself? Or was that guy a psychopath? I don't see, I know, maybe I haven't followed everything, but I haven't seen it. Has anybody seen more about this? Because he got 3 life sentences for killing his 3 children. He was going to plead insanity. All right. He might have been fake. That's possible. Sometimes what they do is pretend they're crazy in order to then, when they commit the crime, claim that, oh, yes, yeah, I was crazy. So that's a very good point. They may be thinking ahead. Like, I know I'm going to get nailed for this, but I'm going to pretend I'm crazy, and then we'll see. Okay, so he's a POS. Hope he gets his butt kicked every day in prison. All right. Now, I want to point out something which I found fascinating in the case of, I have been following a little bit of the case of Lindsey Clancy. Now, she's the woman who killed her 3 children in Massachusetts. Was it Massachusetts? So she sends her husband out, and then she kills all of her 3. She strangles all 3 of her children. And then she jumps out a window. And then the claim now is that she's paralyzed, and also that she had postpartum depression. That's why she did these things. I read this. It was very interesting. I went to this Reddit site, and all these people with postpartum depression are really pissed off. And it's about time people with postpartum depression get pissed off. I'm so sick of this being used. Andrea Yates had postpartum depression. That's why she killed all of her children. No, she's a psychopath who she specifically killed all her children. And there's always this time before when, if you know you're a danger to your children, you get the hell away from your children. You check yourself into a mental institution. And if you were there, you don't come home and then kill them. So unless a person is truly psychotic at that moment, which I don't think Andrea Yates was, and I stand by that, no matter how many people tell me, oh, yeah, she had psychological problems. I don't give a crap. You killed all your children methodically, and you made sure nobody was around when you did it, so you could get it done. Lindsey Clancy did the same thing. 3 little girls, boom, boom, boom. Sent her husband out to get food. And then the last thing they saw as she was strangling them was her eyes. Mommy, mommy, don't. Mommy, mommy did. That's a cold-blooded psychopath. Now, the claim is, this is interesting. I saw this, and I don't know if it's true, but I saw this and I thought, this is interesting. First of all, we've heard that she's been paralyzed, and a lot of the sympathy thing is going to, she tried to kill herself. So therefore, we shouldn't blame her for what she did. Now, mind you, there's a lot of family mass murders done by men. They kill the whole family, and then they kill themselves. Is it make it better because they killed themselves? Should we then forgive them? But what if they survive killing themselves? Oh, like Lindsey Clancy. Oh, see, I jumped out a window, so so what? You could have jumped out that damn window first and let your husband come home and find his 3 kids alive, but you had to kill those 3 innocent children. That's disgusting. I don't give a crap whether you try to commit suicide or not. And here's what's interesting. For months, I've been going on there. Is she really paralyzed? Is she really paralyzed? Is she really paralyzed? Because it didn't seem like she jumped from such a height that she should be paralyzed. And it turns out that is what her attorney is saying. I wonder if it's true, or whether he's keeping it all under wraps that she's not really paralyzed. Somebody else, this is what somebody said, and I don't know, I don't like to do gossip stuff, but I thought it was interesting, if it's true, that there was supposedly blood from her fingers on the windowsill, which would mean she didn't jump out the window. She crawled out and hung from the window so she wouldn't drop so far. That's not a suicide attempt. That's a fake suicide attempt, if that's true. I have no sympathy for Lindsey Clancy. But here's the thing, Doerman, Everybody hates that son of a gun. Brutally killed his 3 kids. He deserves 3 life sentences. Andrea Yates, she should just go, and she had problems. Lindsey Clancy, they're going to play that postpartum depression crap. And the people, and this Reddit site was the first time I've seen people say, look, I have postpartum depression. I didn't kill my children. That is absolutely correct. There's an argument I have over postpartum depression. I don't necessarily believe it's all chemical, as many people believe. I believe it's simple, that your lifestyle has changed so radically. Taking care of a child, you're exhausted. Sometimes you're left alone. In this country, we don't have a lot of help. Your husband goes off to work. You're left alone with the baby. You don't have other relatives there. It's a tough job. It's exhausting, and sometimes isolating. You can get very depressed. And is there any chemical changes? Yeah, maybe. But I haven't seen any scientific proof that there's severe chemical changes to the point where it changes your mind to the point you'd kill your children. I don't see that. Now, there's argument over that, so let's not get into that argument again, because I've had a lot of hate for that, because I won't say absolutely, because I don't see scientific proof. However, I was so thrilled to see people who had postpartum depression, which I agree exists, because your life has changed. You got a baby, you're exhausted, you can't sleep. Yes, I believe in postpartum depression, just not the cause of it. However, so all these people are saying, women were saying, the hell with Lindsey Clancy. I have postpartum depression, and I didn't go and kill my 3 children cold-bloodedly, send my husband away, and strangle them all. Good for you, postpartum ladies. I'm so sick of it. People giving women a little, oh, they must have had some emotional problem. This used to happen hundreds of years ago, where all women had emotional problems, and you had to send them off to the institution because they couldn't handle themselves. And we fought against that. Stop saying we are so emotional we can't handle things. And here we go. Women get off of crimes because we feel sorry for them, and we don't feel sorry for Chad Dorman. Why not? What did Chad Dorman do that was so different than what Andrea Yates did, and what Lindsey Clancy did, and what a lot of other women who've killed their children did? What's the difference? Okay, that's a point. The difference between postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis. What is, again, what is, I don't want to get a big argument here, because we're going to get there. Postpartum psychosis, the question is, what causes that? And I don't see that I'm just saying, I haven't seen the scientific evidence. I'm willing to accept that it could be, but I haven't found it yet. That's all I'm saying. So you can have psychosis postpartum. It just, where is the psychosis coming from? That's the question. And is the psychosis responsible for what you did to your children? And if you're in psychosis, you are completely unaware of what's going on. Your reality is completely distorted. If you can methodically plan the murder of your children, you know better than Casey Anthony. Sleep deprivation. Yeah, okay. I've had a lot of that. Again, I just think we give too many breaks to women. And here's the thing, women have choices too, just like men. If you can't handle your children, if you are having a massive exhaustion and you can't, for whatever reasons, it's not, whatever, you're not getting any help at all. You can't handle it. You have the choice of walking out of that house and saying, I can't deal with it. Save my child. Your responsibility is to make sure your child is safe. And if you're not willing to make sure your child is safe, that is your fault. If you're that messed up, if you're doing drugs and your drugs are going to cause you to harm your children don't need to be with you. So that's the whole point. If you're drunk and your children are in the car, it is your responsibility not to drive that car, to call Uber and get your kids home safely. That's your responsibility. Or never to drink and put your kids in the car. So we have to start taking responsibility for our actions. And a lot of times, Andrea Yates had tons of opportunities to do stuff to prevent herself from killing all her children. Everybody says, oh, her husband made her do this. No, he didn't. She chose things. She chose the lifestyle. She chose a church. She wasn't totally controlled by her husband. Why is it we always think women can't make their own decisions? She chose to marry him. She chose a lifestyle with him. She could have walked if she had to walk. She had relatives. She had family. She chose not to do it. And Lindsey Clancy was living quite a decent middle-class lifestyle. And she had access to medical care because she worked in the frickin' hospital. It's not like she didn't have help. She chose not to have it. She chose to do what she did. We have to stop giving. The law says you can't kill other human beings. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. My psychosis came from bipolar, and I got the hell out of my house. We have enough lucid moments to make those choices before we harm somebody. That's my point. Okay, I'm going to get away from this because otherwise we're going to. So speaking of women who get away with crap, thank you for this Australian case. Ooh, is this one bizarre? All right, Anu Singh. Thank you for this one. Holy crap. Okay, Anu Singh. Where are you, Anu? Hold on a second. Anu. Oh, here we go. Okay, Anu Singh. One of the most bizarre cases I've ever heard of. She murdered her boyfriend. His name was Joe. I don't know how you pronounce it. Joe Sink. I don't know how to pronounce that. She murdered him. She was only sentenced to 10 years for manslaughter due to diminished responsibility, but was released within 4 years. This is the mother of Joe, who says, she said, "You're the devil and a monster." She tried to say, I guess, Ms. Singh tried to get a hold of his mom and say, "Oh, sorry about that." And she said, "F off." Anyway, so get the story, though. The story is the most bizarre story I think I've heard in a really long time. And the way the court system dealt with it is appalling. So anyway, this occurred in Canberra, Australian Capital Territory in 1997. What she did was she laced her boyfriend's coffee at a dinner party with rohypnol, okay, a sedative. And then when he went home, she injected him with a lethal dose of heroin. She was a law student. She was convicted of manslaughter. Okay, wait a minute. I'll stop right here. She drugged him so that he would be unable to fight back. She injected him with heroin and killed him. Manslaughter? Manslaughter. What the heck? How do you get manslaughter out of this? Okay, let's see how this worked. Singh's close friend, Madhavi Rao, invited acquaintances to 2 dinner parties in October of 1997 and told them that a crime would be committed. I'm not kidding. Well, it was just one of the, you think you're going to go to one of these, murder mystery dinner parties? Well, she took it seriously. Witness Sanjeeva Tenakun reported that the first dinner party on the 24th of October was normal, and that Singh and Sink, I'm going to say Sink, yes, I cannot how to pronounce it, appeared loving. However, another witness told the court that Rao, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name either, Madhavi Rao, had told her afterwards that Singh had tried to kill Sink that evening, but did not deliver a sufficient dose. And the witness had threatened to go to the police, but apparently did not. The day after the first dinner party, they went to a friend, Len Mancini, and told him they had given Sink drugs the previous evening. So a whole bunch of people knew that they had tried to drug him. Singh, the girlfriend, and the girlfriend's girlfriend. Okay. Singh died on the 26th of October, 1997, the morning after the second dinner party. Toxicology reports showed he had high levels of heroin and rohypnol in his body. All right. So Singh bought more heroin from Manley's friend on the 26th of October. After she shot up her boyfriend with the heroin, she called an ambulance. And he had a cardiac arrest. And that's when they arrived there. But however, she made it difficult for the ambulance to respond quickly by giving a false address. So they went to the wrong place so he could die on them. Meanwhile, she told police at the scene she had administered drugs to Sink. When they arrived, she was hysterical and struggled with the police, and they took her away from his body. When she first appeared, she told police first thing she told police was she had injected him with heroin so he would not interfere with a suicide attempt. So now she's claiming she was going to commit suicide. Now she had an issue with bulimia. She had all kinds. She was a narcissistic nut job, I would say psychopathic, who had a whole issue with her body, and she was bulimic, and she blamed her him for telling her to take certain stuff to help her not be fat. And she blamed him. But, that he was going to interfere with her conspiracy. Her suicide attempt. Look, I'm sure the guy is not with you 24/7. Once he leaves for a number of hours, you can kill yourself off pretty conveniently, and he's not going to interfere. So this is the dumbest story I've ever heard. The prosecutor noted that both Singh and Rao had been indiscreet about their actions. I like telling everybody. Singh applied for bail in December, and a psychiatrist presented evidence of a personality disorder. You think? The prosecution pinpointed Singh as someone who embodied strong narcissistic traits, like over there to psychopathic. Singh and Rao were tried jointly in October and November of 1998, but they aborted that, saying that they shouldn't have tried them together. For the second trial, Singh elected to stand trial by judge alone, foregoing a jury. He ruled that Singh and Rao should be tried separately. So we go on. In 1990 trial, her defense presented evidence she was mentally ill. Well, she was psychopathic, not psychotic. She knew what she was doing. This is the problem. And they went for an insanity defense. The court was told that Singh believed she was dying from a muscle wasting disease and complained of not being able to feel her head on her body and was bulimic. They got an expert to testify. But the prosecutors got an expert to testify. She was rational and assertive on the night she was arrested. The Justice Crispin found Singh guilty of manslaughter. By the way, when I say go for a professional jury, what I mean is have a professional jury of at least 5 people, not one judge who might be an idiot. Okay. And he sentenced her to 10 years imprisonment with a minimum of 4 years non-parole period. The mother of Singh was very unhappy with the short sentence. In Rao's second trial, that's the friend, she was charged with murder, manslaughter, attempted murder, and administering a stupefying drug, and was acquitted of all charges. How did she get acquitted of everything when she assisted her friend with these dinner parties during which the boyfriend was being sedated? And she knew it, and she was talking about it, and was involved in many other aspects of it. How did she get acquitted entirely? So Singh was released on parole after 4 years of imprisonment. She returned to jail in 1997. She's been on remand since 1997. She was returned to jail in 2004. So she got out in 2001. In 2004, she breached her parole by smoking marijuana and went back for like 4 months. And she challenged her re-imprisonment on a technicality. Okay, so just to bring in the humorous part of this, if there's such a thing. All right, now she's out. Now, wait a minute, I gotta find it. Where'd it go? It's pretty. Oh, she's got a new boyfriend. She's got a new boyfriend. Boyfriend of a woman who killed her husband. Boyfriend of a woman who killed her partner with a heroin overdose in a suicide pact, which it wasn't. Admits she isn't an angel, but she served her time. So now he's with her. The boyfriend of a woman who 20 years ago killed her lover said she served her time and should not be hounded with hate rhetoric. Yes, she should be. She's a murderer and should never have been out of prison. Anu Singh drug, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Here's some more information. Anu Singh drugged Joe Singh's coffee with Rohypnol and then gave him a lethal dose of heroin before watching him lie in bed and slowly die over the next 36 hours. I guess that's how long it took her to call 911. Emergency. Only then, after his breathing had slowed and his lips turned blue and he began to vomit blood, did she call the ambulance because she wanted to make sure he was seriously going to be dead. That is premeditated homicide if I've ever seen one. I have no idea why this woman's out. So now she's got a new boyfriend. He said, ever since I met Anu, it's been, you might wake up with a needle hanging out of your arm. And I'd say, yeah, and okay, you're a moron. She's joking with you, but don't piss her off. Don't piss her off. So anyway, she's now with this guy. I wouldn't stand here and say she's an angel. No, she's like a psychopath. And she's certainly not pure evil, but she's a psychopath who brutally murdered her boyfriend and watched him die. What happened nearly 20 years ago was found to be absolute and utter misjudgments of her mental state, and it was proven. No, it wasn't. So anyway, he now thinks that she's just stable and perfectly fine, and he's happy with her. There's a fool born every day. Run, dude, run. Dolt, my favorite word. Thank you very much. That's my favorite word. You're a dolt. Oh, there you are, Lex. I suggested this one to Pat about midnight, so 10 hours ago. That's how wacko this one is. Yeah, that one, I couldn't resist doing it because it's so interesting. Oh my God. Woo. She got 4 years and a premeditated homicide. It's just bizarre. Oh, hi, Annie. Glad to see you here. Never go out to a dinner party with you. No, dinner parties can be dangerous. We've seen a bunch of dinner parties recently, which I've done shows on, where everybody ends up dead at the end of the dinner party. They've been poisoned. So yeah. So yeah, because you told me to. Yeah. Oh, Darlie, yeah, she's still saying she didn't do it. Okay. Now, here's another little interesting case, which was just brought to me right before the show. And I think it's interesting enough to do it. Devin Hoover, he's an MD. Look at this guy. This is a very handsome man. And by the way, he lives in this house. Holy crap almighty, what a gorgeous home he lives in. All right. He got murdered in his home. And it was, people for a couple of years did not know what happened to this guy. All right, because the police weren't telling people exactly what had happened to him, who had killed him. It was clearly a murder. There was no question. He was 53 years old. He was found shot dead in his home in April of 2023. Okay, he was a neurosurgeon. He was found shot dead in his Detroit home, shot twice in the head, and his body was found in the third floor attic crawl space. He was only wearing socks. He was wrapped in a blood-soaked carpet. And nothing came of this. Police found the doctor when they responded to his home for a well-being check requested by the family after Hoover failed to show up to visit his dying mother in Indiana. All right. Who killed him? This guy killed him. Now, his guy's name is Desmond Burks, and they knew he was the number one suspect right away for good reason. And they were just collecting evidence for the last year, and they finally arrested him. Now, I want to say this. Believe me that this, the police are behind the camera here, so he's not in a good mood. But I'm going to say that if you look at other pictures of him, I didn't find any because I haven't had time. I'm going to say this was a good-looking dude and was extremely hot. All right. Why do I say that? Well, he was in a relationship with Dr. Hoover. They had 4,000 text messages between them. They had an intimate relationship. Hoover is how old? 53. Burks is, let's see, how old is Burks? 34. He got a 20-year-old boyfriend. Now, mind you, here's where it gets, where this is how, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. So they had 4,000 text messages between the two of them, with whom Hoover had an intimate relationship. Now, on occasion, Desmond Burks would charge Dr. Hoover for these sexual services. There's your big hint. Okay. This wasn't, these two were not in a normal relationship where an older man finds a 20-year-old difference. It's just like, a lot of people do when they're older. They have a lot of money. They can get themselves a younger boyfriend or a girlfriend. It wasn't that. This guy was charging for his services. This man is a prostitute. 4,000 text messages. I don't know how, over what period of time there were 4,000 text messages. I'm going to say a lot of them were sexting. I don't know what was going on there. 4,000 is a lot. So they had a fairly ongoing relationship, but this guy's charging for how, and they said, would charge him on occasion. I don't know what on occasion is, but I'm going to say a whole lot of occasions. And I would also believe that it's very possible that this guy is a sugar daddy. And sugar daddies, they sometimes do not want to admit that the person they're a sugar daddy to is a prostitute. This happens no matter whether they're male or female. I see guys all the time, well, to help them take, she's a wonderful girl, blah, blah, blah. No, she's a sugar baby. She's a prostitute, using you for money. She wants you to give her a place to live. She wants you to pay for a college education, whatever it is. She's not there because she loves you. She's there because you're paying her bills and you're giving her a lot of money. sugar daddy is basically a John for a prostitute. People can argue that all they want. I'll stand by it. And the problem is that once that relationship is set up as a sex for money relationship, it's not. It is illegal in a lot of states, but if it's done as a sugar daddy type thing, then it's looked at as less of a, like different than if you hire an escort for the night or you get a girl off the street or something. People look at it as a relationship, and therefore, just because somebody gives you a lot of money and because you're giving them a lot of sex takes it out of the prostitution thing. But it's still the same thing. It is. It's just a different form of it. And when you're a person who is hiring somebody, paying for sex, you got to question that person and what all their motives. You got to question your own damn motives, but you got to look at what you're dealing with. This guy seemed to be a bit of issue. All right, so on the day of the murder, the doctor's phone traveled from his home to Burke's home, and then back to his own home, and then back to Burke's home. Burke was pretty crappy at covering up things. After the murder, Hoover's phone, wallet, and 2 designer watches worth $6,000 and $7,500 were missing from his home, and multiple fraudulent financial transactions were made from the doctor's bank accounts. Hoover bought one of those watches one day before he was killed. So physical evidence was discovered directly linking Dr. Hoover's property to Desmond Burke's on the date of the homicide. All right, so now he's up for first-degree premeditated murder, possession of a firearm by a felon. Oh, wait a minute. He's a felon. So, Dr. Hoover, why were you hanging out with a felon? It amazes me. This is a good-looking dude. I don't know how good he looked. I don't know when this picture was taken. So maybe this is actually a picture in his 30s, and he's now in his 50s, and he looks like shit. I don't know. But he lives in this house, and he has a lot of money. He didn't have to hook up with a felon. I can't believe he couldn't get a boyfriend that wasn't that. I mean, I'm going to say this has got to be a bad picture. This guy's got to be hot outside of this horrible picture. All right. So also Burke's faced a second-degree murder charge in connection with unrelated case, a deadly road rage incident. Okay, so apparently a car bumped into the back of his car. He got out and punched the man, left him lying in the street. I guess he died. So let me tell you a little bit more about Burke's. Just when you hook up with somebody and you pay them for crap, Desmond Burke's is charged with first-degree premeditated murder, felony murder, larceny over $20,000, felon in possession of a firearm, and 3 counts of felony firearm. Okay. He's facing charges following an investigation that spanned multiple states and countries. Man, this guy must have gotten around and making money. Let's see if there's any more about Burke's. Let's see. In this one, it says, Desmond Burke's would charge Dr. Hoover for these sexual services. Not on occasion. This one just says he'd charge him. All right. They also looked, the investigation spanned 5 states: Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Texas, and California, and also the U.S., France, and England. Whew. What? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that guy that he punched in the road is dead. The case now involves interviews with nearly 90 witnesses, more than 300 pieces of evidence, 135 search warrants. Wow. I'm going to say, this fella, Desmond, he wasn't playing just the doctor. He probably was a very busy prostitute. He probably was selling a sexual service to a lot of people, and just milking them for whatever he could get. And I don't know why he decided he needed to kill him when he was making money off him. I don't know if Hoover suddenly said, hey, I'm done with this. You're taking too much from me. And he got pissed at him and decided he's just going to rip him off for everything he could. I mean, he's obviously an idiot because he left a trail behind him. But you pay for sex. You sometimes pay for sex, Let's see. Bad boy fetish. Well, I think, I'm going to say that in the case of a lot of men who hire prostitutes, they do have a bad person fetish. The concept of not the church girl, not the church boy, but someone that's a little bit, got that. They're willing to do things that normal people aren't willing to do. And there's that level of excitement. And also the fact that you can control what kind of sex you want and how those people are going to respond to you. The problem with dating is that when you date, there's a kind of this equal relationship. So the theory is you go on a date or you have a girlfriend or boyfriend and you're having sex with them, you have to please them. When you hire a prostitute, you don't have to please the prostitute. You have to tell the prostitute how they're going to please you. And even if it's fake, some of these people, when they hire, they're like, oh, I want you to tell me that you love me. I want you to call me daddy. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And I don't want to do this to you. And the person's being paid, so they will do whatever you want. They will play whatever game you want. They will make you feel good in any way you want. So you're in total control and get what you want, even if it's an illusion. And you don't have to worry about making the person happy and having the person not be pissed off at you and say, don't ever call me again. You just paid them a crap load of money. They'll say, call me again. So there's when you're hiring somebody for prostitution, you have to look at your own brain in doing that. The men who do this, the women who do this, women do this too. They hire people too, although men, majority of the time, is that you're unwilling to be in a more mutual relationship. And so that's why you're paying for this kind of thing. Now, mind you, it's sometimes hard to get in a mutual relationship. They can't find anybody really. I mean, sometimes depends how much money you have or what you look like. There's all kinds of reasons. It's hard to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. But still, if you're starting to pay out, you have a lot of money, you're starting to pay out for this kind of thing, you got issues. And yeah, maybe you like the sexy bad boy. And so that's what you're willing to pay for. And maybe he's a good time. Not saying they didn't give good service. Maybe he was fabulous at what he did, which is why you called him 4,000 times. So, but it can be very dangerous. And if when you hire somebody, so you just have to be aware that, anybody who is involved in this, it is dangerous for prostitutes and it's dangerous for the Johns. For both of them. People want me to call these fancy things sex workers and whatever, but let's face it, it's still prostitution, and people who hire prostitutes are called Johns, and they've been for years, and I'm not going to go with a fancy new language, because I like to be very upfront that the dangers of this kind of thing, there are a lot of people who suffer all kinds of damage. It damages, a lot of the men who do the hiring are married people, so they're having sex with prostitutes and it's damaging their home life. Also, in a lot of countries, the prostitutes carry HIV, and especially in Africa, there's been a problem where the husbands will bring home the HIV to their wives and not use protection, and the wives will get HIV and the children will get HIV and die. So it's not a victimless crime. So hiring a prostitute is not a good thing, and being a prostitute is not a good thing. Both sides suffer emotionally, physically, and societally. It's a disaster. And yes, it is the world's oldest profession, because there's always somebody who wants to buy, and there's always somebody who wants to sell or needs to sell. And depending on how circumstances, sometimes there's no option but to sell. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that one. Okay, this is a really interesting one. I was asked about this case, and I may do a full case show on this because I just don't know yet. But I want to talk about one thing about the Tamla Horsford case. Okay. Now, what happened was, she went to a party. Now, listen to the story first before I get into what I want to talk about. Was it murder? Death of a beloved mom at a party was ruled accidental fall, but the family is suspicious. After the family's demands, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations reinvestigated the 2018 death of Tamla Horsford. Let me put a picture of her up here. There she is. This lovely woman here. All right, what did she do? On the night she was been invited to celebrate a fellow mom's 45th birthday with a girls' only sleepover, where the plan was for several women to bond like teens. 40-year-old Tamla Horsford was late to the party because she was baking a breakfast casserole for her husband and their 5 young boys, which is pretty. So generally speaking, we're talking about a woman who seems to be living a good life and being a good mom and a family woman. Okay. And she's going to a party where she's going to be overnight with the other girls. Sounds fun, right? She had such a big heart, said her older adult daughter. She would not allow you to be in a bad mood. Tamla and the night's host, Gene Myers, had sons who played youth football together. And while Tamla, this is where I'm going to talk about today, and then I might get into the whole thing in someplace else. The only Black guest among the women wasn't well known to all of the others. She made friends easily. She's always been the life of the party. So we're starting at, this is where we have this issue of, was this case ignored because she was Black? Was she killed because she was Black? And she was with white people. All right. The discovery next morning, her body was face down in the backyard in her paw print pajamas, has left her family grasping for answers and believing their questions remain unsolved, in part because of Tamla's race. The fact she was a Black woman, sadly, in a sea of people that weren't. What? Why is it sadly? Just because she's with people who aren't Black doesn't make it sad. And I'm going to show you something in a minute why this really bugs me. Might have something to do with it, why it wasn't more investigated. Based on police observations on the morning of the 2018, Tamla's husband, Leander, says he was told that authorities suspected she tripped over some garden edging, a hazard that Myers' aunt said she had also stumbled over in the past and suffered a fatal injury. But as the extent of her injuries became known, authorities later theorized that she had died after a fall from a second-floor deck. She had blunt force trauma to her head, neck, and extremities, including a broken neck and dislocated wrist. That was inconsistent with a slight fall. And alcohol in her system at nearly 3 times the driving legal limit, according to the autopsy. They called it an accidental death. Now, but in the interim, local media found records that revealed Myers' then-boyfriend, Jose Barrera, who, by the way, sounds Hispanic to me, Jose Barrera, and one of 2 men who were also at the home that night, had used his role as a fourth county pretrial services officer to access records. He was fired from his job. According to police interview, when asked if he threw Tamla over the deck, he replied, "No, I did not." Attorneys representing Barrera explained his action that he was simply curious and that it got the better of him because he wondered what happened. Our clients are completely innocent. This was not murder. This is nothing more than a tragic accident. Skeptics of the investigation noted the county's turbulent racial past. And if you go back to any county, you can go back enough years to find a turbulent racist past, racial past. And it's 85% white population. I live in an area that has 85% Black population. Oh my. And as the deaths, some other, then they get into some political stuff. In June, citing recent calls to re-examine the death of Tamla Horsford, they did ask the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to take a second look, and they came back with the same conclusion. It was an accidental death. Now, all right. I don't know what I would like to know more about the injuries. I would like to know more about the location of this balcony or deck she could have fallen off. She clearly was drunk. There's no question. She drank a lot. And that's, you're at a slumber party. You're not going to drive anyplace. Yeah, you can get really trashed. Now, was it an accident or was it a murder? Does it have anything to do with race? Let me first step out and say, this is nonsensical that has a damn thing to do with race. Okay, here's a picture of her at this party. These are soccer moms. These are soccer moms. Look, they're all cuddled up. They're having a good time. There's no way in God's earth that these women suddenly decided to beat the crap out of Tamla and throw her off a balcony because she was Black. Get out of here. Now, let's go back to this picture. Here she is with some Black relatives. Here she is with some white friends. All right, I want to show you a picture of my daughter. Oh my gosh, there's my daughter. That's the girl, second girl at the top on the left. Let's go top and then 1, 2 in, looking straight at the camera. That's my daughter. Oh, look, she's with a bunch of Black women. Oh my God, she has Black friends. Oh, girl, let's go look here. Oh, look, there she is in the blue shirt. Oh, what is she doing with all those white people? Look at all those white women. Oh my God, there are a couple Black people, and they're like 1, 2, 3. Of that group, 4, I think it's like 5, there might be 6 black people and all the rest are white. Oh my God. Let's look at these 2 pictures. On the left, my daughter in the same outfit. She must have been at some place. Okay, she's hugging. Oh my God, 2 black people. On the right, oh my God, she's hugging 2 white women. My daughter has black friends and white friends. She actually has way more white friends. Not because she actually lives in an 85% black area, but it's just that she grew up in a certain neighborhood, which is actually mostly white. And when she's come over and she's done mothers groups and stuff, somehow she's ended up with more white friends. So what? She doesn't have all white friends. She's got black friends too. But if she went to a party like she did, and it happened to be a whole bunch of white women, they're her friends. They're not white. They're not her friends because they're white. They're her friends because they're her friends. Just like these are friends because they're her friends. For God's sakes. So that Tamla went to a party of friends, even if she didn't know a lot of them, because a lot of times she a few friends there, and then there's their friends, and they're soccer moms, for God's sakes. They're not beating up on her because she's black. It's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard of. So there's only 2 answers to me. She got really drunk, and she went up, and somehow she tripped, and she fell in a horrible position. She whacked something on the way down and then broke her neck. It's possible. Or the Jose guy, Jose Barrera. It's possible that she was staggering around drunk, and this guy, who is not white, tried to he saw how drunk she was, and his own girlfriend was probably passed out, and she was wandering around in the night. Maybe he did make a pass at her. Maybe she fought him off. Maybe he tried to rape her. Maybe he pushed her and she went over the balcony. I'd go with that story, but that has nothing to do with her race. Now, are they not investigating it just because white women were at the party and she's black? I just don't buy that in a million years. That's just stupid. So I don't know. I would like to see what the evidence is, but the women had nothing to do with her being black that she was killed. What? I think the women, it was an accident, but the women were really uncaring and awful. Who said that? Who said that? Okay, okay. I'm going to have to look at all of what you're saying. A lot of times when people say people are cold and uncaring, a lot of times when they're calling, they're stunned. They're maybe still drunk, maybe still half out of it. I don't know that they are cold and uncaring. I just don't know that that's true. I think a lot of times when I've seen a lot of these cases, I've seen families make claims. I've seen groups that are trying to push racism make claims. I just don't know that it's true. Okay, tell you what, Jennifer. All right. Most of the women did not know her, so I don't know. They're not. Do you really believe the women beat her up and murdered her? Is that what you believe? Because they were white and she was black? Do you think they beat her up? They all got drunk and decided to beat up the black lady? Do you honestly think this is the way it works? Because I know my daughter, who's that age, in her 40s. I've seen her she gives all these parties. They have these. She's had bonfires. She's had mothers groups. She's had gardening groups. My daughter's very, very good with the community. And I've never seen anybody in those groups not acting like they were just having a good time. A lot of times they didn't know each other, or they came in through a mother's group or something, and they only know 1 or 2 people. I've never seen anything like that. I can't believe that their kids play soccer together. They've been liked her well enough to invite her to a party. They all look happy. So in the middle of the night, they're all going to beat her up. That makes 0 sense. 0. So do I believe any of those women attacked her and brutally beat her to death and broke her neck? No, that is nonsensical to me. Absolutely nonsensical. That the boyfriend could have done something. Yeah, not because she was black, but because maybe she was pretty hot looking for 40. She's a good looking woman. Maybe that was it. Maybe everybody was asleep and she was staggering around and he took advantage of her. I don't know. I would like to see the information for that, but no way do I believe these women did anything to her. Now, could the girlfriend who gave the party be worried that her boyfriend did a bad thing and just be in shock and can't believe it and not want to admit it? And I don't know. No, I've never done anything. I've never heard of this case before. It's the first time I've heard of it. So, so I'm going to tell you, please send me every link on this case where you think that everybody was cold and all this kind of stuff. Because a lot of times, and I've seen this in so many cases, when race enters the picture, we get people siding with, because they're believing there's some kind of racial component, misjudging other people for their attitudes or their behaviors or the way they speak. And a lot of times this is simply not true. And I've seen it in a bunch of cases where families of a murder victim or an accident victim, especially mostly an accident victim, somebody's an accident, and then everybody's accused of being uncaring around them. We even see this with Riley Strain. Why didn't his buds care about him? Maybe they did something to him because they didn't care about him. No, they're drunk. They're a whole bunch of drunk dudes. He says, I'm going back to my hotel, and he staggers off, and they're drunk. So like, yeah, bye. It isn't like they didn't care about him. They just didn't think about it because they're drunk. So it's not as cold-hearted as people think. A lot of times it's just that everybody else is just not in good condition. So yeah, what would be their motive? I don't know. What? It makes no sense. It's a mother of 5 children who plays soccer with the other mom's kids. What, they're going to kill a mother of 5 children? What for? I mean, you'd have to have an old pile of psychopaths there. That's nonsense. And I say, I've seen all the moms around my daughter, and they're all just, they are so cool. They treat me really nice. I mean, if my daughter ended up dead after a night with women, I would never assume that these women suddenly ganged up on her because her skin was slightly different color than theirs. Get out of here. It just makes no sense. Jose Barrera, one of the 2 men in the house, he may be the most innocent guy in the world. And maybe he just couldn't understand. Maybe he was curious and did look this stuff up, and he shouldn't have. But he might be a little sketchy. He's the guy the only person I think would have done anything to it would have been him. Other than that, and I don't see if there's any evidence she was raped, so it would be some kind of tussle that ended up badly. I don't know whether he had any bruises on his body or any scratches on his body. I don't know. Maybe it was just a horrible accident. Because, people get drunk and they feel sick. Maybe they're closer to the porch than they are to the bathroom. They stagger out and they go to throw up and they lose their balance, and stuff happens. And then everybody wants to blame somebody else when it can be, it's just one of these things where, when you're raising kids, you always hope they don't do something stupid one day. You always worry about that. Oh, please don't get drunk and drive a vehicle. You told them never to do it, but doesn't mean they would never do it. Please don't get drunk and go try to pee in a river, because you might lose your balance and fall in, you moron. But they might do it. You just don't know when they're going to do something real stupid. Because we've all done something real stupid at some point, and lucky we're still alive. So that their kids might do something stupid, or a wife might do something stupid, or a mother might do something stupid. Yeah, it's all possible. Jennifer, okay, so you think they don't beat her up. I don't think it was racism. So, okay, so you're saying, I think it was an accident, but they were mean and really uncaring. Were they? I'm trying to understand why you say they were mean and uncaring. I don't understand where that's coming from. Usually when people have a person around them, a mother of 5 children, who dies in a horrific accident, they're not mean and uncaring. They might be stunned. They might not want to talk to the media. Maybe they've been harassed. I don't know. Okay. Again, send me links to prove to me that these women were mean and horrible, or were they just, it's just, you come in with a misconception a lot of times because we think they should act in a certain way. They're not acting. Stay away from the cruise ship balconies. Okay, the person who called 911 seemed like a stranger. Okay, again, if she was drinking as much as the rest of them, she may be completely trashed when she was making that phone call and just trying to get the words out. She just might come across crappily. I mean, that doesn't mean they found her. They may be so horrified. People, in those situations, they can sound really strange because they're having difficulty processing it. Let's say, I don't know if it's the woman's house, the one who made the 911 call. You invited your friend over. She's not dead in your yard. You're all drinking. Maybe, I don't know if they do some other drugs. I don't know. You're all drinking, and now she's dead in your yard. I don't know. And you're still massively hungover or still drunk. I don't know how you would actually talk. I would like to hear that, though. That's an interesting point. Okay, 911 call. Jose made the call. Well, that's not the women. You said the woman who called 911. But did Jose call or did the woman call 911? Okay, send me the links. Okay, send it over to my email, profilerpatbrown@gmail.com. Send it to a message at Patreon. Send me the links. I'm going to look at that and see whether if I see something that's off on that, then I'll let you know. I'm not opposed to something might have happened to her besides accident. Although two law enforcement agencies have said it was an accident, and I don't know that they'd be protecting anybody and having a good reason. But I want to look at the autopsy information, the crime scene information. I would like to hear the 911 call. I said I will do a longer one on this if there's something, it's something there. But the racial thing, I just don't think it's there. And that's the first thing I saw when I heard that. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. I just didn't see it there at all. It's totally different when you have, there are racial incidents where a person may be targeted, but this definitely is not one of them. That's interesting. I tend to laugh when I'm nervous. Yeah, that doesn't go over well usually on a 911 call, but it can be true. Yeah, you worry about your kid and hope to make the right choices. And was Karen Reed in the house? Maybe she ran her over outside the house. It's horrific. It's a horrific situation. You always have to know how a person would behave prior to that, how they act, how you would speak prior to that moment. And then you have to know if they were under the influence of anything during that moment, to understand whether they are out of character or not out of character. And is there any reason for them to be out of character? That's what you look for. So, it can be complicated. So, but the racial thing just drives me nuts because I didn't see it anywhere there, and I hate it when it immediately goes to, oh, this is some kind of racial incident. And somebody just sent this over to me right before, asking about the case. I don't have a picture of this. Missouri teen. A Missouri girl was critically injured in a fight captured on video near Hazelwood East High School in St. Louis County. Video has been shared by thousands of people online. It shows a girl getting thrown to the ground and punched in the head by another teen girl, who then slams her head onto a concrete sidewalk multiple times. It's not clear what led to the fight. One could go racial on this because one is black and one is white. But again, this may have nothing to do with anything. So don't jump to a conclusion. It can be it could be a racial assault. It also could simply be that they're all in the same school and they're both loudmouth girls. I just don't know. I don't know who started the fight. I don't know what the fight was about. However, the fight was in progress at 2:32 p.m. Responding officers located a juvenile female suffering a severe head injury. The victim was transported to an area hospital where she's in critical condition. A 15-year-old female suspect was arrested Saturday and held on assault charges. Hello, kitty cat. Hi, Mackerel. Hi, Mackerel. What's up? There's your food right there. See no. See the food right there? Yeah, it's right there. I'm not going to bother you. Come and eat your food. Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here at the dining table instead of in the bedroom. But there's your food. Okay. So you have to move really slow. He's not used to this, but he is now having his little dinner next to me. Hi. Don't look so scared. I'm taking a picture. Go eat your food. Okay, so here's Mackerel. Let me see if I can show you a picture of him. Aw, he just showed up. And there he is. There he is eating his food next to me. Yes, go ahead and eat. But the problem here is what with this case? Regardless of the reasons for the fight, they really don't matter. I don't even care who started the fight. The problem I have is once the girl was on the ground, when you take somebody's head when they're already laying on the ground and smash it into the pavement, repeated a number of times, that is a homicide. That is an attempted homicide. Now, they're going to claim the 15-year-old girl didn't realize she was doing that much damage to the other girl's head when she slammed into the pavement over and over again. This has become a new methodology, and I've seen this too often with teenagers at schools, that instead of just punching it out and then when one drops, the other one goes, yeah, win, and walks away. We're seeing that the person is going over the person is incapacitated on the ground, already knocked down, that instead of letting them up and walking away, they are taking their head and smashing into the pavement over and over again, which is an attempted homicide. And in this case, it might end up being homicide. I'm curious to see what the excuse is going to be for why she did that. But this is a new teenage thing, which is really super dangerous. And I can't believe they don't know that it's going to cause permanent damage. But their defense is going to try to come up with that. But I really don't care who started the fight, because you at a certain point, even during a fight, you have the option to walk away. And when a person is already on the ground, you walk away. You don't continue assaulting them. And then when they can't fight back and you smash their head over and over into the pavement, that's not fighting. That's murder. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I say I don't really know why the fight started, and I don't know that I care. The links are in chat 98. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Skittish cats. Well, he is a feral, and he's at least he's sitting next to me, which is kind of cool. He's so pretty. He's got he has really pretty markings on him. It's almost like, I'm not looking at you that much. He's almost got I think he's supposed to be called a mackerel, whatever the name of that cat is, but it's got a lot of black markings and gray, which is real pretty. More so than brown, which is interesting. Enjoying yourself? Okay. Pretty cool that he's being nice. So I put it there because he usually comes into the bedroom about around somewhere between 7 and 9, and I knew I'd be doing the show, so I thought I better feed the kitty while I was doing the show, or he'd come in and wonder why I wasn't going to feed him tonight. So this is the first. I've fed him in the kitchen before during a show, but this is the first time I moved the bowl onto the carpet next to the dining table to see if he would come and be comfortable enough and not, yeah, hi, hello, and not so scared that he has to run off. Let's see what else I have. Do I have anything else? I have, I think, a couple other things. Just this is just this is kind of just interest. Oh no, not that one. Sorry. Let me go find this family. I just did the whole show on the missing family, right? This was a family, Sirigliano. This is Anthony Sirigliano, his wife Suzette, and they had two kids, Brandon and Noah. And they were all at home, and they vanished. And so, you finished with it? You're going to come back later? Yeah, you can come back later. Yeah, come back later. Bye. You're going to come back. You're going to come back and see me later? Okay. Well, you can hang out if you want. I'm not going to bother you. It's fine. He's working toward the cat door. All right. I'll come back later. I'll be in the bedroom with your extra food. Bye. Okay, let me find this. Let's see. Where is it? 1 second. Let me find this family's. Okay, Michigan family is found safe. So this family disappeared, but then they were found, which is nice. They vanished with their teenage sons after ranting about 9/11 conspiracies. Were found safe 300 miles away from 300 miles away in Wisconsin. Now, what's interesting is supposedly the father didn't exhibit any kind of weird stuff before, but he they disappeared out of the house, and they locked the doors and the windows, and they left her mom, her elderly dementia-suffering mom, wandering the streets. It's pretty weird. And I think they left pets there too. But before they vanished, Anthony phoned the police ranting about conspiracies involving the FBI, CIA, and 9/11, which it sounds like a psychosis. And he calls them up and he goes, "I know you're not going to probably believe me, but people are after me. People are following me, and they're after me, and some big, huge government conspiracy." So I'm trying to find. I read the thing about what was said on the phone. Oh darn, thought I had it here. So the phone call is interesting because he's very calm, extremely calm. Oh, here it is, the 911 call. I'm not going to play the 911 call, but I will read you what it said. And he speaks almost like he's reading something. He says, let me find it. Okay. Okay, here we go. She says, 911. She said, "What's going on tonight?" He says, "Hello." He says, "This is Anthony John Sirigliano," and he gives his address. She says, "Oh, what's going on?" He says, "Yes, everyone is okay, but I need the Fremont Police Department, and I believe he is Captain John Geating. I need some police protection immediately." And she says, What about?" He said, "It is a vital national interest. It is related to September 11th, and people want to erase me from the face of the earth. I'm not crazy. Mr. Geating knows me. I'm a Christian. I just need some help, and then the U.S. government will take it from here." Which is interesting because usually when people think there's a conspiracy about 9/11, they think it's the U.S. government that was involved in the conspiracy. So how they would help him, I don't know. He's got conflicting stuff going on here. I know this sounds crazy, which apparently he said that twice, and people are going to think he's crazy. "You don't have instructions for this." What, for crazy people? No. "Please send someone that knows Geating and can talk to U.S. authorities, please." "Do you have any weapons there?" "Yeah, no weapons at all, not even a BB gun." And he spells his name. He gives a phone number. He says he's got no landline. "Can they come with their lights off, not to frighten my children, please?" And she said, "Definitely." He says, "Okay, I'll look for them and knock on the door. Please try to send Mr. Geating, even if he has to be awoke from his sleep. It's that important, please." And then he vanished. They vanished before I don't know. It doesn't say here that when the police got there that they weren't there, but clearly it must not have been there after he made the phone call. So he takes off. And he's found, which is a good thing because it sounded like he was going to maybe do a mass murder thing and everybody be dead. But they luckily found him. And I've been looking to see why he did this. And so there's two reasons why he could have done this. He was clearly psychotic at that moment for some reason, and he's got mental health issues that people haven't talked about. Or he's saying this in order to get people to think he's crazy. So when he kills off the family, they'll go. Or maybe he fails to kill himself properly. Then he's got his insanity plea. I don't know which one it is. But I do think this was a comment that was made, and I just had to laugh because I thought this was good. Because this guy says, "It goes to show that if you get paranoid enough, people will start following you." Because now they were looking for him. So he was being followed. So it came true. So I have no idea what his issue is. I haven't been able to find any follow-up on this. Yeah, he's a mackerel tabby, but I thought they were more brown and black and gray. He's quite black and gray on a certain light. Yeah, I have a sidekick. I have that cat now. How bizarre! Yeah, I'm curious to hear. I haven't seen anything about why he called and why they disappeared. A lot of what bothers me a lot of times is a lot of money is spent by the police, a lot of manpower, a lot of, to do these searches. And I personally think that if the person, the money should go back to the police. I mean, I don't think the taxpayers should have to pay for people who make these kind of things happen. I've always thought that, so many cases where these fake abductions happen and so forth. Why isn't every single penny being paid back by the person who made the hoax? I don't understand that. I have not ever profiled Mackenzie Sharilla. I haven't heard of her. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. Yeah. So I think there's some reason I think I recognize the name, but I'm just not sure. So, but I'll have to check it out. One last thing before I call it a night. This is just because speaking of people who make accusations, this one this woman, hold on a second, I'll take off this. Okay, there we go. This is Lalita Kale Kumar, 50 years old. She was found tied to a tree in a dense forest near Sonuri village, roughly 280 miles from Mumbai. This is in India. She was found by a cattle herder, tied to a tree. Now, I've just dealt with this, the recent case where the family, Jameson family, disappears, and their dog is found in their car for 8 days and is still alive, although it supposedly has no food and water. I question that. I wonder whether either two things, either the dog was left with food and water, especially the water. The food is not so important, but left with a huge bowl of water so it could make it through a number of days. More than 3, which is usually what will kill a pet without having any, and a human without having any fluids. 3 days is usually it. You can go for a month without food, but the water, not so much. So the question I have is, how did the dog make it 8 days in this car? Either somebody came back and was feeding it and giving it water, or at least giving it water, or somebody left that in the car. And I've never heard whether they found any kind of empty bowl in the car that could have contained water. Drives me crazy that information is pitiful on the Jameson family case. However, this woman is found tied to a tree in India. Now, let me locate it. Okay, she's an American, by the way, and she said when they found her. Well, this was the note she wrote when she was they brought her into hospital. They got to this note, and she says here, injection for extreme psychosis. She wrote that, which caused severe locked jaw and inability to drink any water. Need intravenous food, water. 40 days without food in the forest. Husband tied me to a tree in the forest and said, "You'll die in this forest. I am a crime victim." Well, she was highly emaciated, that's for sure. That's what she scrawled as her message when she first came in. You can see it's an interesting video where all the people, the nurses and stuff, are all looking at. She's writing this and going, "Oh, this is what she's saying." She's now receiving treatment in a psychiatric facility. And now she's admitted she's not married. So clearly her husband didn't actually tie her to a tree and was likely suffering from hallucinations when she gave her statement. Okay. She reportedly told investigators she purchased the locks and chains and shackled herself to the tree after becoming distressed because her visa had expired and she was running out of money. Okay. She had a 10-year visa for India, which I also, by the way, have. And she had about $300. Now, I find this interesting. First of all, even if you have a 10-year visa, I don't know I didn't say when she actually got there into India, because a 10-year visa only allows you to stay 6 months at a time. If you stay past 6 months, then you're in violation of the visa. So even if it hasn't expired, you can't stay past 6 months. That's just, you have to leave the country. If you want to live in India, it's really a pain in the butt, but you have to actually leave the country and come back. So, if you're retiring there, it's not easy if you're not not Indian or have been, they do allow people who've moved out of India and are returning. They do have a special deal for them. But for somebody like me, if I want to go live there, I got this issue with the visas. Now, some people just ignore the visa and just hide out and nobody ever catches up with them, depending on where they're at. I don't know where she was at. I don't know how long she was there. But her visa supposedly ran out and she's got $300. Well, $300, you can live in India on $300 for about half a year. So I'm not sure why she was desperate at that point, but okay. So then she said she hadn't eaten in 40 days. She's very thin. She does look pitifully thin. According to BBC, investigators have been skeptical of her story because it's unlikely anyone could survive nearly a month without food and water. So here we have this problem again. The food, yes, depending on how fat she was to begin with. I can certainly last a month. I have fasted for 3 weeks on water, and I lost weight, but I was still fat. I probably could have gone longer, but you can't go without a month without water. So where did she get the water from? Did she chain herself and have a huge supply of water? I don't know. Or was she not really there 40 days? Was she there only a week? I don't know. Or was she only there, or was she coming and going? And when she saw the cattle dude coming up, she reshackled herself to the tree and then said, "Oh, this is what happened to me." I don't know. Why was she doing this? There's another good question. She had a mobile phone, a tablet, and 31,000 rupees, which is $370. She is a U.S. citizen from Massachusetts with a national identity card revealing her home address in Tamil Nadu, which might give her an ability to stay longer in India, depending, because she's an American citizen. But yet again, she obviously had immigrated from Tamil Nadu in India. So now they're taking care of her. What was she trying? What was she trying to do? So this doesn't seem like a massive hoax where she was hoping to get a lot of attention in the newspapers, or have massive police investigation. It seems more like, I don't know, that she just was kind of losing her mind and didn't know what to do with herself. And maybe she was thinking she was running out of money and that maybe she would be taken care of if they found her in a bad situation, which is actually what happened. So maybe it worked. Was there a lot of rain in the area outside of Mumbai? Yeah, there should be. I mean, Mumbai is a very tropical area, very humid. So yeah, there should be a lot of rain. That's a good point. I would think there's enough rain. But it's just an interesting little case. Sometimes you just wonder what's going on in the head. I'd like to know more about her and why she was in India. I mean, obviously she originally came from India, but still, why was she there? Didn't she have any relatives in Tamil Nadu? Or did her relatives have enough of her and just go away? Tamil Nadu is nowhere near Mumbai, by the way. Mumbai is a long way from Tamil Nadu, and it's a completely different state. They speak a different language. I mean, English is much used throughout India, obviously, because one of their official languages. And so, yes, so she's in Mumbai. She could speak English and get along. She could also speak English in Tamil Nadu and get along. But she would speak, people down there speak Tamil mostly, and people in Mumbai mostly speak Hindi. But she should be able to survive. And she should know people, and $370, I say, will get you a long way. When I'm in India, I can live on very, very little, which is why it's a great retirement spot. But be curious to see if ever there's any more information on it. But just a bizarre little story about what people will do. And but I she's not like Sherry Papini. Sherry Papini is just a massive narcissist, of psychopath, Munchausen syndrome, who wants massive attention by what she does. There's a whole big difference between that and this woman who just seems to be off her rocker. So I'll let people be off their rocker a little bit. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should. Okay, wait a minute. It's one last thing. Just because I haven't done a Dear Abby in a while. So I'll end with Dear Abby. Where's Dear Abby? I did forget to mention this. Netflix is going to do a whole Scott Peterson, is he innocent or not? When that comes out, I'll definitely comment on that. It makes me want to throw up. I mean, it's disgusting. Yeah. Scott Peterson to speak out. Yeah. Scott Peterson speaks out for the first time in 20 years, months after the LA Innocence Project takes up the case. And the show is put out by Peacock. Oh, it's Peacock, not Netflix. Face to face with Scott Peterson. Isn't that sweet? Unbelievable. The stuff that they make money off of sometimes has zero ethics. Which was a Dear Abby I wanted to do. There was a couple of them, and it just sometimes I'm always just amazed at where was the one I want to do? Okay, hold on. Okay, now I lost it. Let's see. Where'd it go? I lost it. How'd it go away? Hold on a second. Yeah, I managed to lose it. There's a couple of them here, but they weren't as. Let's see it. Let's see about this one. Is this it? My son married a girl from Taiwan. This is Dear Abby. She's sweet, but very uncultured. That's nice of you. What does that mean? I'm going to say right away, you're a snob. I have tried for more than 10 years to get along with her, but it's been very hard. We have nothing in common except my son. She doesn't cook very often or clean or do the laundry. Her English is terrible. She dresses poorly and has no interest in our home and celebrates no holidays. We're never invited to dinner. We always entertain them. They have no children. Our relationship with our son is strong, but I've grown to dislike her. She does very little for him. Her interest in saving money at the expense of any enjoyment is sad. I don't know what to do. Get out of their lives. Get out of their lives and stop being so mean. It's like, stop being so mean. That wasn't the one I wanted to do, though. I've lost the one I wanted to do. Darn it all. It was such a good one too. Let's see if I can find it. No, I've lost it. I'll do it next week. So, who will get the money? But he can't get the money. I don't know. That's a good question. You love Dear Abby. Well, she's not very good at giving advice. That's my problem with Dear Abby. Most of the time I disagree with her and I'm annoyed because I disagree with her. I think, why would you come up with this terrible advice? A lot of times it's just simply terrible advice. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find the one I wanted to do. But sometimes I'm just amazed at what she says. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll have to find some for next week. So anyway, that's it. I will see you on Sunday. And on Sunday, I am going to do a UK case that I was asked about, and I got very interested. The Templeton Woods murders. 2 women, their bodies were found within a few hundred yards of each other in the same woods area. And the question is there a serial killer? Is there not a serial killer? And there was I hopefully remember to send this information out to you tomorrow, because last time I failed to do so. But there is on Channel 4, which you can access if you're in the UK. And if you're not in the UK, you have to have a VPN. I had to go through the VPN, and then they ask you have to sign up, and you have to put your name and your address in. And although I say I never lie, I lied about that because I just picked out an address off the internet in the UK and chucked it in there, and that got me in. So I'm not as honest a human being as I say I am. But anyway, I wanted to see this so I could comment on it. It was called In the Footsteps of Killers. And David Wilson, who's Professor David Wilson, basically a criminal profiler, psychologist out of the UK, is in this show along with some other well-known people. And it's god awful. Oh my God, it has to be one of the worst documentaries I've ever seen. The music is annoying and scary and sad. And it's so slow. And the woman who's with him, they ask the stupidest, the camera, between the two of them. It's just dreadful. And it's funny, when I looked up their user reviews, I mean, they got nailed for how horrible it was. They got 1, 2 up. Here's absolutely awful. If I could give a minus score, I would. I mean, it's dreadful. But if you want to look at it, I'll send out more information. But you're saying Pam says it's on BritBox through Amazon. Okay, but you got to pay for BritBox, and I don't want to pay for BritBox. So I'm already paid for my VPN, which gets me into the BBC, so I can watch Death in Paradise, and then Channel 4. Now I have an account with Channel 4, so I can watch documentaries through there. The problem is I have to sometimes watch documentaries around the world, and they won't let people see them who are outside the country. It's not like I wouldn't mind paying for that. If they said $2.99 to watch this, I would do it. But I can't even access it unless I have a VPN and say I live in the UK. And same is true oftentimes with many other places in the world. So I have had to do this to be able to watch the documentaries. Which VPN is best? Well, I use, let me show you which one I use. I like this one the best, but it's ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN, all one word. It's been good for me. It hasn't been too outrageous price. It works very well. You watched the whole series. How could you make yourself do that? Or use NordVPN? Well, I don't know. They're probably all equally as good or bad. I don't know. I have had no trouble with it. But one thing you have to be very careful of is if you're using a VPN and you're coming back to watch a show you've watched before, you don't want to have that up like, for example, I'm watching Death in Paradise on there and I have BBC up there, have Death in Paradise, and then something freezes. Sometimes it freezes. So you go out. Never leave it up when you come back. You want to make sure that it's clean, that you go on the VPN first and then bring up the website. Sometimes if you accidentally have it already up and you go back out and they can tell you're coming through a VPN, they will nail you and then you can't see anything. So I'm always extremely cautious that if I have any issues, I make sure I clear everything out, go out and come back in and start over. Well, I thought that was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. And I hear the whole series is dreadful and I believe it because it was bad. But you can get some basic information. You can hear what they have to say. However, I will review that during the show. But it's very interesting profiling and as far as profiling goes. I saw a lot of things, some things I agreed with and some things I thought were completely off the mark. And it was just fascinating. The show did a lot of things where they tried to say things were true that weren't true. And that really bothered me because that's not something that should be done by David Wilson. David Wilson? Is that who it is? I'm sorry. I forgot his name now. Wait a minute. I forgot his name. David Wilson. Yeah, it's David Wilson. He should not be saying what he said in that show. And so I'll go forward with telling you all about that. But it's a great show. What show did you watch? Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about Death in Paradise is a great show. But you liked it. You liked the woman that was in there. She was horrifyingly bad. Oh, my God. Oh, sorry. Well, this is where you call it differences of opinion. That was just, yeah. Just have an issue with it. I thought it was dreadfully slow. I thought I'd rip my face off watching it. Death in Paradise will be back with a new detective. It'll be coming out, I think. I don't know when it's coming out, but it'll be coming out. The next time it comes out, there's a new detective. So let's see how it goes. Sometimes when, the longer it gets, they run out of ideas. I'm watching Hawaii Five-0. I'm on season 7, the new one, and it's so dreadfully bad. I mean, the stories are so ludicrous, and I'm just like, wow, you need some new writers in here because it's bad. But I still love seeing Hawaii, so I watch it just so I can go to Hawaii every evening and just relax. So I'm going to go do that now. I'm going to go watch a really stupid show, but it'll be in Hawaii. So anyway, I hope to see you all on Sunday, and I'll be there. At least I think I will. See you soon. Bye-bye.